Where are you from originally?
I'm born and raised in Pasadena, so kind of like a suburb of LA. But I spent a lot of time in downtown LA growing up because that's where my dad lived. And so me and my mom and my dad were like over here the one weekend, over there the next weekend type thing. So I spent a lot of time in downtown LA, specifically in the Arts District, like before it became like super lit, like how it is now.
So you don't really rock with it no more?
No, I do. But when I go to visit my dad, I can't find parking. So that's a little annoying now. I find myself there much more frequently, just because of like my dad's a fashion designer.
Okay.
So, now that I'm like starting to really lean into that more, and like working on my brand and want to design new things, I don't really necessarily have the technical ability that he has. So I find myself there a lot more often.
Let me add that to. I feel like that's a great. I'm gonna add that to the end. So I remember to bring that up.
No, you're all good. I was gonna mention that, get into that, like because the question, how did you get into fashion? That's basically how I got into it.
All right, bet. Damn, I'm still trying to figure out why do I look so crazy.
You don't look crazy, bro. Like
okay.
Like if the lighting is like you have like a lot of highlights on your face, but you don't look like discolored or anything like that.
Okay, cool. Because for some reason it just looked like I'm like, well, I'm about to go to the upper room or something. Like what the fuck? All right, cool. All right, man, what's going on? It's your boy Kloth, and I'm back with another video, man. Look, if I'm not starting somewhere, I'm not going nowhere. And this is gonna be another segment of Kloth Talk. Now again, Kloth Talk. Kloth Talk is just where I'm grabbing an article titles from Hypebeast, Complex, and it's all talking about sneakers, fashion, and all the things that I like, and I bring people on here who like those things as well. But I'll let you go ahead and introduce yourself. I feel like it's kind of hard sometimes, like some of the content creators that I bring on this platform, like there's not much information I have to go off of, and I would much rather give you the proper introduction by giving yourself that introduction.
I appreciate that. Yo, so my name's Noah. I go by Overpriced T-shirt on most of my socials. I am a designer. I own a clothing line called Pretty Ugly, prettyugly.shop on Instagram. prettyugly.xxx is the website. But yeah, I am a creative trying to get more into styling and things. I kind of have like a very much so traditional background in terms of education and like what I do in my career right now, but I'm looking to transition. So I'm excited to have this opportunity to chop it up with you. I've been following you for a minute, really like your style, like how you present your opinions and things like that. Love the YouTube channel. So I'm really honored to be here, and thank you for including me, bro.
Nah, fuck that. I don't remember when did we follow each other? Like, when did you find my account?
I probably found your account in 2022.
Okay.
And maybe I started interacting with you more last year. That's when I kind of like started like, oh, all right, maybe let me try this like influencer thing. Because I noticed a trend, like people who have brands and like their brands are starting to like bubble up or start like to get noticed or out there more in the ether. They themselves, the brand owner, has a following on social media. They present like their style. They do like their behind the scenes videos and things like that, kind of like social currents, developing social currency. And so I kind of was like, all right, 2023, let me start doing that. And that's when I started interacting with you more. I had followed you maybe for a couple months prior, but then just started engaging with that community. And it's been pretty nice. Like the feedback and the warmth that I get from other people, genuine people online, is pretty cool.
No, yeah, the content creator brand starter pipeline is strong.
Like, very strong. I feel late to the game, but it's okay. I'm about to get into it for sure.
Hey, starting is better than never starting,
bro.
But like, it just like it be the people that like support you. Like people have like asked me for so long, bro. Like, do you make something so I can buy it? And I'm just like, damn, like I didn't think like I knew I was always into fashion, but I didn't think like, oh, I was gonna like make something eventually. But I'm like in that path now to try and do that. But that pipeline from content creator to brand owner is strong as hell.
is super, super strong. And like and I think it stems also from like YouTube, because if you notice, like YouTubers that have like really big followings, they all sell merch.
Oh yeah.
All that shit sells out. Like people don't even care what the merch looks like. They just like the person that they're engaging with enough that it's like, I want to buy, I want to participate. I want a product. I want something I can have with your name on it to show people that I support you.
Yeah.
That's some strong, that's stronger love than any, I think, brand that sells products will ever be able to garner, because it's a personal engagement. It's harder for people to engage personally with the brand, but if you can engage personally with a human being, you want to buy the stuff that they offer. And that's where I find myself. I'm trying to converge on that, like right now.
Nah, yeah, that's facts. For surely facts. And I've seen that with so many like YouTubers before I even got into like making content or even on YouTube. Like I've seen that happen so often. Like I don't know if you know who Corey Kenshin is, but like or like RDC or like these big content creators who are like millions of followers, like they post anything, it's gone that second. You'll think it was a sneaker drop.
Mr. Beast is a perfect example.
Oh yeah.
Like because the merch don't even need to look good.
Yeah.
Like in terms of like objective like style, it's like, oh, I like that, I don't like that. That's out the window. People don't care. If you watch Mr. Beast, you like his videos, you're tapped into his network, you're buying the products.
All you need is the logo. And it's sold already.
It's sold already. You, the person.
Yeah. But we'll definitely get into that towards the tail end. But let's go ahead and knock out these articles. So I definitely want to expand on that as well. But let's jump into this first article. All right, so this article title reads, Nicholas Daley season or spring summer 25 centers on Rastafari consciousness. You said you've heard of him before?
Yeah, I have a pair of pants from him that unfortunately I was like, it was like in a weird state. I do a lot of upcycling with my clothes. Like I'll wear a piece for like, and I'm like very much so like I get obsessed with things. So I'll wear a piece every day for like a month or 2 months, or basically that'll be my staple for like a couple months. And then I'll put it down and maybe not pick it up. I did that with those pants, these pants that I bought from them like maybe 2 years ago. And I really liked them. And then when I put them down, I was like, maybe if I change them, I want to wear them some more. So I made them slimmer. And this was like a transition. This was like maybe 2020. So I was still like, I had just finished wearing sweatpants for like 12 months. And I was like, I don't want to go back to slimmer pants, but I'm not like fully like sold or bought into like the super baggy wide leg. So I tapered the pant a little bit, and then I didn't wear them for a little bit. And then I tried to put them back on again. I was like, these, I don't like these. I don't know what I was doing, but I made a
super slim fit.
Yeah, not super slim, but just like a little too tapered for the current like zeitgeist, I guess. And even me, I've noticed like people who talk about their style as they've gotten older, because I'm 30. I turned 31.
Oh, actually, I did not know that. That's crazy. I thought you were way younger than that.
No, I turned 30 in September. 31 in September. And I was talking to a dude who's a little bit older than me, and he was like, yeah, as you get older, your clothes get less tight. And I was like, damn, that's one of the realest statements I've heard. Like, as I've gotten older, I don't want it. And we're in a pocket where wide leg silhouettes and baggier silhouettes are at the forefront, but that's not always going to be the case. So, I mean, it happens in trends and cycles. There'll be another thing that's more popular than super baggy shit, and that's what most people will be wearing. But I've noticed that as I've gotten older, and as I see more older people who are like kind of aligned with my style ethos, the clothes get less tight. And I'm very appreciative, because I think
it's also just like, for me, I don't like things being like, I get uncomfortable very fast, especially if it's hot. So like, I already don't post on social media, or as far as like on Instagram as much anymore. But like when it's hot, I don't want to put clothes on. I'm chilling, bro. I don't want to be sweaty, nothing. And like, yeah, you could be like, oh, just wear a seersucker, just wear linen. I'm still hot. That doesn't defeat the purpose. I'm still hot. So like, I absolutely agree. Cause like I used to wear like, I was like, when I got into fashion, like really into fashion, it was during like the jerkin era. And that's when I was wearing like acid wash, skinny jeans, big shoes, and big shirts. It was just like, it was cool back then, but like as I just reflect on it, I just remember being like always having to adjust my pants. I'm always having to like it's just too much, bro. It's too much.
Yeah.
But when I saw this brand though, I thought of you. Like this look right here, I was like, I feel like I've seen you wear something similar. The beanie, the dreads, the silhouettes, everything.
I love these silhouettes and these looks really so much. But to be honest, this is very much so me. But realistically, it's like who I've evolved into over maybe like the past 3 years of really focusing on my personal style and developing what I want to look like and how I want to dress. I've been leaning heavily into like these kinds of looks. And realistically, recently I found out, my dad told me, because my dad wasn't really close with his dad. He didn't have a relationship with his dad, but he told me recently, like I think like right before the pandemic, he was like, oh, my dad was born in Jamaica.
Oh.
I was like, oh, so we're Jamaican. He was like, yeah. I was like, that's crazy that I'm finding out about this deep into my 20s that we're Jamaican and you knew this. And I was just like, because I've always had like an affinity for that kind of like Rasta look or like that Jamaican rocker kind of like vibe. However, I don't wear Adidas. I don't wear the stripe. And it's not necessarily anything against Adidas. I feel like in my childhood, a lot of my cousins, I grew up an only child, and then my mom got married, and so I had siblings later on. But I grew up an only child. All of my cousins and everything is just like they didn't wear Adidas, and like you kind of got clowned for not wearing Nikes. So I kind of have like it's like this subconscious like brand loyalty that I don't necessarily have, but I do. Like if I'm not wearing boots, I'm wearing Nikes, and that's pretty much it.
Interesting.
But to go back to this style, this style caters more to an Adidas silhouette, and in that culture, they wear that a lot more. But I still love wearing this, like with some boots, some Clarks. Like this is definitely very much so me.
I think out of everything in this look, this is me. Like the jacket to the beanie. I mean, the pants. I'll probably want a little wider the pants, but like this whole thing, like when I was going through all these looks, I was like, that feels more like me. And then this hat, you already know I like goofy ass.
Oh, man likes Paperboy.
This hat right here goes so crazy. Like I might have to like this again. This is my first time hearing about this brand, so I might have to keep them on my radar as far as like.
I definitely would. The only thing is this brand is pricey. Like it's, and I feel like that's one thing that our community or like the community that's into fashion doesn't really talk about. Like. I like wearing nice things, and I prioritize that in my financial situation. But it's so unrealistic to expect people to be like, "Oh yeah, let me go get this $700 jacket, this $1,000 jacket, these $600 pants." But yeah, no, this bros clothes are expensive. They're expensive. The pants that I got on sale, and they were still like $300.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Bro runs it up, and it's indicative in the quality, in the craftsmanship, and the design. I like that someone is willing to put this kind of look, this kind of style, on like kind of like kind of like a luxury pedestal. Like you don't necessarily see these kinds of looks at that price point, and I'm appreciative that someone is willing to be like, nah, this can be luxury too. What you wouldn't normally see or think as luxury, and oftentimes that means something that's kind of like Afrocentric, ethnic, something more culturally inclined can also be luxury.
Yeah, because I mean, when I think about it off rip, Rastafari, I'm thinking like somebody smoking, they just chilling somewhere like in like the slums type thing. So I definitely agree, like somebody taking that and making it like, no, this is like runway fashion, this is like high-end fashion. So I like that aspect of it too. I didn't $1,000 jacket though. I got bills.
Yeah, no, and I don't know this for sure, but I'm imagining that jacket's probably a band up.
Ooh,
yeah. That's his normal price point. No, that's his normal price point.
So out of everything in this, like in this,
the Madras pants, the I love those hickory kind of like pinstripe pants that in that jacket look. I love those pants. As far as jackets, that is a jacket. This brown and Madras jacket, I think number 2, the second look.
Let's
I
see.
love that whole look actually. And I'm
This
not
right
a
here.
I wouldn't wear that together. I'm not a person that likes to match my top and bottoms like a suit kind of thing. But those items separately, super hard.
Nah, yeah, it's like again, I feel like I'm always on the hunt for new brands or trying to find something that's a little bit different. And like, how did you get hip to this brand? That's my question. This seems so like out of like what the norm is.
Is definitely like separate from like your traditional like style wheelhouse. But I actually got hip to this brand just living in LA. There's a store that I shop at, Union. Like they did the
Okay.
yeah. Union is the first place that introduced me to this brand. And then being on Hypebeast, after I saw that Union, I would see them feature his collections more. And so I tapped in, and I really like his stuff because, I mean, if you look at my brand, most of my designs, graphics, or kind of like, or at this point, just graphics are very black, like black characters, black tropes, like black kind of like stereotypes. But like I'm very much so a satire person. So like tongue in cheek, very clever ways to present what would be seen or what has been historically seen as a satire or a stereotype, to present it in more of like reclaiming it. And like, you know, so
Okay, so
that's,
you saying that, I almost want to ask the question, how do you feel about Tremaine?
I like Tremaine. I don't like the hate that he gets, but it's gotten a little bit lazy. I'm appreciative of someone who's willing to tell those stories, our stories, on a super big platform, on a level that people are like, oh, whoa, what is this? What does that mean? Like, that's lit. The cotton reef, the history and the story behind it, the idea that Black people built this country picking cotton, that's lit. And then did a collab with Levi's, the biggest denim supplier, that's hard. But at this point, I've seen enough cotton reef. Adding rhinestones to it or chain stitching it isn't going to make me want it more. I appreciate the history and what you did with it. Even the one with the Creole, the Southern Indians, that collab that he did with Uggs, highlighting that community in New Orleans. Most of my family is from New Orleans, so that was super hard. The stories that he tells are in-depth Black historical stories, and I appreciate that. But I don't know if I'm aware African diaspora goods. I like it and I'll buy it, I'll support it, but is it going to be part of my staple? Maybe not at this point, but could never bash Tremaine. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, he's the best storyteller in all of streetwear, but he tells stories that align with me and what I like.
Yeah, okay. I feel like I agree with what was that? Probably like 3 months ago, I had Drew Joyner on, and we were talking about his collection that he did around, like, it was very food centric, like as far as like
It's
the
my
watermelon.
grits.
Yeah, the Kiss My Grits thing. And I bought something from that collection because I like when I initially talked about it, I was like, what's the story? Like, I understand like people want to do and use like images or use certain things to make people guess or like question certain aspects of like Black culture, especially in America. But I feel like he didn't tell the story. So then it's just like, it's just food on shirts, or it's just food on like, what are those food groups, or what are those like okra or like watermelon and a chicken bone necklace? Like, what are you trying to necessarily tell with that? That just seems very stereotypy. Like, of course, we understand that, but like your audience is not just us.
Not just us.
And I'll probably say it's predominantly not us, it's mainly
others.
People. Yeah. So it's like, if you don't tell that story or you don't go out of your way to fully explain it, it just felt like
that particular collection. I agree with you. He didn't articulate the history, the historical significance behind the images that he was presenting. And I think in that sense, it was a little bit lazy, but in the same breath, the Kiss My Grits joint was hard because it's like he's trying to say that Blackness, proximity to Blackness, doesn't mean that it's less than. Like the idea of polenta being like, oh, this is like this high class dish, but it's cornmeal, it's grits. It's just got an association to whiteness that makes it seem more elevated. And grits has an association to blackness that makes it seem less than. And he's trying to flip that. And that's what I appreciate. I come from that kind of environment. Like, so I went to a historically Black college. I'm educated and well-versed in what the African-American story is and means. There's always plenty of room to learn more. Like, for sure, as someone who likes education, there's way more that I don't know than I do know. Mm-hmm. But as someone who knows a little bit about that, I appreciate someone telling those stories. Now, this particular one, he could have articulated it better. I love the way Joe Fresh Goods presents his collections and the stories that he tells and the narratives and the marketing behind his rollout. I think that Tremaine could have taken a page from that book and be like, okay, I'm gonna go a little bit more in depth as to what it means to put watermelon on a shirt, what it means to put okra on a shirt, what it means to say grits is the same as polenta. I'm gonna explain what that means to my consumer, because most of them don't know. If he would have taken the time to do that, I think the collection would have resonated with Black people and others a lot better.
Nah, that's facts. I didn't even want to interrupt there. You was going off. No, I respect that.
Bro, see, don't let me start preaching. Like I said, I went to Howard, so
okay.
I'll just talk about Black shit all day.
Nah, yeah, no, I feel that. And I think what you said, though, because Joe Freshgood doesn't leave any room for you to misinterpret what the message is with his stuff. Like, him and Salehi do that very well. And I think, again, like, even after me and Drew Joyner did that Kloth Talk, and I went back to go buy something from the Kiss My Grits collection, I was like, I went back to see if he had put some more information out. It's not. There's one YouTube video of him being in New York with a company that like sells fresh produce, like in New York, which like that's dope because like it's highlighting Black farmers, it's helping this dude that has a business, but it's like you didn't
tell the story.
You didn't talk. You just let them talk about their business, which is like, I mean, I guess. I mean, I can't really.
He didn't bridge the gap. He expected to read between the lines, and most people don't care that much. They're not trying to, especially when it's unfortunately, and maybe this is he's a hater, but especially when it's surrounding something Black, people don't care to look into it that hard. They just don't. That's unfortunate. But unless it's hype, unless it's associated with their favorite rapper, their favorite Black celebrity, reading about Black culture, Black history, learning about it. That's why Nicholas Daley doesn't have a huge platform, because his shit is centered around West Indian culture. It's like, oh yeah, that's cool. It's still novelty. It's still novelty to people in a way that it shouldn't be. But
no, I'm gonna have to really, and I definitely didn't want to focus on Tremaine here, but you had said something and posed my question, but nah, this new stuff is tough though. This is definitely now going on like on my watch list of brands that I keep an eye out for, because I feel like the overall art direction with this collection is dope as hell.
It like the way they present, because it's every collection feels like it's like the Caribbean. From the background, the models, the present, like even the floor mat on the wall with the wood, with the exposed wood, it's very Caribbean. It's very, and so I everything that he does is informed by that piece of information, that historical moment in time, and I think that it's very valuable. And like I said, he's presenting it in a luxurious way, and so it's kind of like it's like our stuff can be luxury too, and I appreciate it. I'm like, yeah, I'm all for that.
No, I gotta track down this hat. I gotta figure out how much this hat costs.
I can see you in that hat for sure.
I gotta figure out where this hat is. But nah, yeah, this is definitely a dope brand. I'm down with it. I'm down with it, especially when it's like, I feel like there's a lot of companies that try to hit on or highlight certain areas, but I feel like it just hit different when it's like somebody that's actually from that culture and actually, rather than like just being a spectator in it, you actually live it. I feel like there's a difference when you actually put things together like this.
There's a form of truth and authenticity woven into what they're presenting that you can't get from someone who's trying to imitate
or
look at it from like, and they're looking and they're removed from it. And they're like, all right, I'm inspired by that. I'm gonna go back and see what I can do. It resonates different when it's from and of that culture, that community.
Nah, facts. But let's jump into the next article. All right, so this article title reads, take a first look at Oakley and JUNYA WATANABE's new footwear collab. I ain't gonna lie. Actually, before we even get to that, I heard you said that if you're not wearing boots, you're wearing Nikes. So like, are you wearing anything outside of that, or is it specifically like boots and Nikes?
I just cut down on a lot of my shoes, mostly sneakers. Going through them, I guess I have Margiela sneakers. If they're not Nikes, they're designer.
Okay.
I have a lot of Golden Goose sneakers that I still keep. But yeah, essentially, there was a second where I was wearing Salmon a lot, but some weird thing happened recently. Like I said, I'm 30. Like 2 years ago, my foot size changed. Maybe 2.5 years ago. Like I used to be able to consistently wear size 12.5 and 13. Now I can barely fit most 13s, and it's got to be like 14.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, bro. I'm not really happy with that. But
yeah, that puts you in a very marginalized group.
It at least puts me out in the cold, bro. What it does, you can keep it a bean. It puts me out in the cold, footwear wise. Like it's hard out here, bro.
Yeah, that's tough.
For now, I've designed 2 different shoes. Now I'm at the point where I get custom shoes, which is like Thankfully, I found someone that's not charging the crazy prices, but it's not cheap to get custom shoes. And I'm not even trying to like I'm not out here like Wemby, like I need a size 22 in custom shoes, but like I'm like
it's probably not the cheapest option or the fastest.
Oh man, this pair of shoes that I designed and have made by this guy took like 4 months. Now I wear them all the time and get hella compliments in them, and I love them. But I basically wear tested them, and the leather that I chose wasn't that great. So I got to remake. I'm gonna make a new pair and then offer them made to order on the web. And then the second pair that I'm designing is a derby, but kind of like an awkward shaped derby. And once I finalize that, like and wear test that with the leather that I chose, I want to offer that made to order. Like I want to offer shit for my brand that necessarily I can't afford to do on scale, but like just be able to like present what I am capable of. And maybe that'll help grow the visibility of the brand and people want to interact with stuff that is hard to get. Because I very much so base my personal style on how easy is it to get it for other people to get what I have. And that may sound pretentious, but it's like I don't like stepping outside and seeing people with shit that I have on. That's why I upcycle and make a lot of my own shit. That's what got me to wanting to make a brand, because I was tired of like, why do I look like people outside? Like, and like I said, not to sound pretentious, it's just like I don't want to look like everyone else. I just don't. So what can I do to differentiate?
No, that's real. I respect that. That's how. Like, that's why when I even jumped into like wearing goofy hats, I was like, yeah, nobody else rocking goofy hats. Like, that's my shit now. But back to these shoes though. How we feel about them?
I love them. I love the fossil kind of like very, like it's got brutalism in it. Like it's like, I love the structure and the presentation of it. I love the monochromatic. I will say that these would also look hard in like a dual colored, like tan and green, like tan and olive drab type situation. Hard, but I love the black. I don't really wear white shoes, so I'm going for black for sure.
What shoe does this look like top down?
What is that? The Osiris?
This looks like a 95 to me.
I don't know. Or what's that skate shoe that everyone keeps referencing? The one that looks like the Lemaire's, the one that looks like the ASAP Rocky, Under Armour. It's like a classic skate shoe. I think it's Osiris or Oris or something. I didn't really wear skate shoes as a kid.
I think so. I think I know what you're talking about.
From the top, this looks like that to me.
Yeah.
But a
That's
95,
like,
I can see a 95.
I think it's just because of this lacing system. I
The
think
lacing.
anytime I see this lacing system, I think 95. But yeah, these are tough, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
Tough.
These are tough. Like in Oakley, this is like their second collab with JUNYA, and like, bro, the first one was like a mule shaped shoe, and it was kind of like very odd. Let me see if I can pull it up here. The chop saw mule.
But realistically, Oakley is I don't like this shoe. I don't like the or the lace up shoe of this. But like I said, I wear 14, bro.
Oh yeah,
real chunky. I'm like, I don't know if my jean leg openings are wide enough to like balance. Bro,
they look like some water shoes.
Bro, I like at this point, like when the sneaker gets too big, I feel like I have on some, what are those, the Balenciaga triple S's? So I feel like those on, and I'm just like, cause I got stompers, bro. I got the stompers. But
I think what makes these so dope is like it doesn't fit. Like usually when people do like collabs or like, you know, they put a shoe out there, I'm like, I see a lot of resemblance. Even though I said it looks like a 95 from the top, like it feels like a different shoe. Like this doesn't feel like anything else that I've seen.
This feels like a very new silhouette. I love
the
cage is lit. The cage is really, really cool. This feels like it's in like an elevated Merrill wheelhouse. Like I can see Merrill dropping these and it not have been a collab. It's like, you know how Merrill has like an elevated kind of like more stylistic shoe line. Like I can see it there. But no, these are hard. And not to take away anything from Oakley, because Oakley has historically made really, really technologically advanced, fashion forward sneakers. Like I remember like seeing like an old pair on eBay of like a full Teflon Oakley from like the late 90s. And I was like, damn, that's hard. Or not even, maybe it was the early 2000s, but I was like, Oakley's done his thing on footwear. And then JUNYA is like the king of collabs at this point. Like any JUNYA collab, I basically want. But I'm a bigger dude also. I'm 6'4", almost 290 pounds. He doesn't really make shit in my size.
So how easy do you think, and this is for the bigger guys that will watch this eventually, how easy is it for you to dress how you want to?
It's easy.
Like, I don't know if I put that question together. Like,
I understand what you're asking. It's easy for me because I put the time into finding what works for me, and I have places that I can go to get what I like. I have vendors and sell. Like I shop a lot at flea markets. I shop a lot on eBay. Also, I've noticed with like this like convergence of hip hop and high fashion brands, like designer brands, are making bigger sizes because they know niggas is big. Like I just bought a 3X Prada shirt, and I'm like, what business does Prada have making 3X shirts? But they know that wealthier Black people want to dress like that in those brands because it offers them a level of status. So they're catering to that customer, that new customer. And I love that. But I'm also not like very into like, oh yeah, I'm designer down. Like you see the Dior. I'm not on my bloody O shit. Like I'm not there yet. I don't know if I'll ever be there. I like designer things. I like nice things, but the whole like flex swag lord is very far removed from me and my personal style. So
give me 3 brands. If somebody is like, I'm a bigger dude, I always see these like these slimmer dudes rock stuff. Like what 3 brands they can for sure go to and cop either like good pieces or cop fits?
Does it have to be new contemporary brands?
It doesn't. Whatever game you could.
Vintage polo on eBay. Big niggas you're always gonna find a home in polo, vintage polo. And when it was vintage, they used to make it even bigger. So you're always gonna be good there. I love rocking old 90s made in US polo. Carhartt. I wear 3 to 4 pants. Carhartt double knees in white, denim, black. I wear M65 pants. Those are like I think Korean War cargo pants, Vietnam War cargo pants, M65s come in huge sizes, huge. That's, I find most of what I wear, vintage military, vintage Carhartt, as far as bottoms, and then jackets. Camille Fort Gins is a designer. It's basically luxury, but very DIY. I love that brand. I have quite a few pieces from them. They make big shit. Most of their stuff fits oversized. But at that, like, it's hard for me because I want to be realistic and responsible with my recommendations, because not everyone's willing to spend what I'm willing to spend on clothes. But I don't want to be like cliche. Like, I feel like a cop out is to say Carhartt double knees because you can get them in so many various sizes, but that's what I wear 9 times out of 10. If you see me outside, I'm in some Carhartt double knees, or I'm in M65 olive drab cargos for bottoms. I upcycle a lot of jeans. There's this one dude who lives in LA who has a brand, and he basically his whole brand is based on upcycling and from recycled materials and clothes. And it's called Anti. He makes some sick ass jeans, and he'll make them in any size. He sells his brand's carried at H. Lorenzo right now, and he's a super dope dude, super dope designer of his clothes. I guess for more like when you're looking for bigger clothes, you notice that they get more expensive unless you're willing to go to eBay or a flea market or a thrift store and just search. So it's not the best answer, but like I'll say vintage Carhartt, vintage military, and Camille Fort Gins are 3 brands that I love. I really lean into and will wear regularly, and they got stuff available for us, and vintage polo on eBay.
Yeah, I didn't really. Obviously I knew about polo because like when I was younger, people, fat horse, like they want that horse on there. But like when I moved to Texas, bro, and I started getting into like double RL and like stuff like that, I was like, oh no, like it's deep. Like Ralph Lauren,
well, bro,
his bag is deep. His bag is deep. Like it get like that.
He's literally synonymous with American fashion.
Yeah,
Ralph Lauren is American fashion. That's what it is. Like there are different subgenres and subcultures within like a traditional American style. Like you got like workwear, Carhartt, you got like cowboy kind of like, but that kind of caters to like Levi's and like cowboy boots, and I guess like maybe Wrangler. But like that traditional preppy kind of is worn everywhere, even in Texas. Like prep is heavy on college campuses and in that environment. When you go to the Pacific Northwest, they wear polo and shit like that. But then when you go to the East Coast, New England, New York, Maine, Delaware, like all those places are heavy into prep, heavy into like Vineyard Vines, Brooks Brothers, like that, that essence. And that all is basically carbon copy polo.
Facts.
Like the idea of a rowing Blazers is literally bar for bar polo almost.
Yeah. But yeah, I feel like we end up going off on a tangent.
Bro,
but
I'm very much so a tangent guy. I'm
back
to because leave it to me and we'll be talking for hours.
But I feel like once these, I don't think they have announced when they're dropping or even the price point for these yet. But I feel like these are the type of shoes that are going to be all over my Explore page for like a month straight. I can see it, especially if they get both pairs. Like I can see how they're going to arrange it on the floor. I can see the type of lighting they go use, and like I can see the type of fits, like very gorpy, boxy shirt, flared out pants, and a vintage hat or something like that. I can see this hitting my Explore page.
I can see this with a lot of Rick and a lot of CDG. Someone's gonna wear this, a lot of CDG, a lot of, like, definitely the Rick cargo pants and the cargo shorts. I can see this Rick down with some Geth denim. But yeah, these are gonna be hard. I want a pair. They may make 13. Hopefully they fit it. They might make
awesome. You gotta put that out there.
Realistically, Junya might fuck around and just stop at 12. Just be like, 12. Because I hear like I've never been to Japan, but I hear shopping in Japan when you're like a bigger American person, there's like you know how like there's like sexism, there's like sizeism. Like once you get too big, they're like, we don't have any. They even start getting rude with like, oh, you gotta go.
They don't ever want you walking in there. No.
Right. Like so I'm just like, damn, I can't wait to go to Japan, but I'm not looking forward to walking in stores and being like, yeah, nah, we don't got nothing for you.
Everybody went to Japan this year, dude.
A lot of people went to Japan.
Everyone went to Japan. I need to go out there. And I don't even think the greater bulk of me going to Japan wouldn't even be fashion. I swear it would. I'm like heavily
into
anime, manga. Like I'm packing another suitcase just for books to bring back.
That's real, bro. That's real.
Oh my God.
I haven't tapped too much into manga. I'll read things that like I really want to watch. So I've started to read a little bit of Hunter x Hunter.
Okay.
After the season ends, because Hunter x Hunter is my favorite anime. Hunter x Hunter and Yu Yu Hakusho are my two favorite animes. And it was interesting when I found out that they were made by the same person.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, whoa, that's hard. That's super hard. But
Hunter x Hunter is a hard. I tried, and I prefer reading. I prefer reading versus watching the anime. But like I tried to read Hunter x Hunter, bro. It is hard.
Challenging.
There's so much text. And I'm not saying I don't read. I read, but it's like,
but you're reading it for like how kids read comic books. It's like,
yeah,
whoa, the visual.
Like from page to page.
Just as hard as the text does. But Hunter x Hunter is a lot of text.
Yes, a lot. So yeah, we didn't bounce on another.
Bro, I'm saying anime is my bag. So let's focus. Let's focus up. Let's focus up.
Let's just give it a rating. 1 out of 5. What do you rate these?
5.
5. Yeah, these. The only thing that I'm hesitant about is this looks like a very hard shoe to scale what your size is going to be. I feel like a lot of people are going to get their sizes wrong. This looks like you have to go a half size up. That's what I think. Like it looks like it looks big and bulky, but I feel like the inside of the shoe is like a little
very compact.
Yeah, very compact. But other than that, like it's a
they got the Japanese sizing right there, like the 1 through 27 centimeter.
Oh yeah.
It's there's no chance for me, realistically. I don't. But I didn't even really get mad. Like I could just appreciate. All I can do is appreciate the shoe.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, this probably they're not looking for me. They're not.
But honestly, realistically though, a lot of people just gonna appreciate it because a lot of people ain't gonna get it. A lot of sneakers in general, like you may feel like you being left out, but a lot of people don't get shoes in general just because of how hard it is to get it. Like,
and that's wrong, bro. It shouldn't be like that. Like, but at the same time, it's when I go back to that. Why do I look down and I see 10 people at the event with the same shoe as me? I couldn't go for that neither. So I understand.
Yeah. But let's jump into the next article. All right, so this article title reads, Stefon Diggs announces upcoming Asics Gel Nimbus 10.1 collaboration. I don't watch football, so like,
really,
I don't watch sports, bro. I don't. It's not that like I've tried to. I just don't care enough. And like when I see other people who watch it and they're so passionate, I just like, yeah, that's not me. Like I just don't care to. But I see him a lot in fashion spaces, which is funny. Like he's he's on the runways. He's like at different like things. He's got collabs going and everything. So like I know who he is just because like his face is always like, whether it be like hype beats or whether it be complex and they like showcasing street style, like bro is everywhere. So I think this is just like, this is gonna happen eventually.
It makes sense because you got to think who else had a sneaker. Fucking Victor Cruz had a sneaker. But you don't watch sports. Victor Cruz was a receiver for the Giants, New York Giants. He had a sneaker. I think Mike Vick had a sneaker. Like when you get stars, they're gonna do this, and it's interesting because this is Mike Vick is a little bit different than I think Victor Cruz in that, or no, it's the same as Victor Cruz. Both Mike Vick and Victor Cruz were Nike athletes who got Nike sneakers. This is a Stefon Diggs Asics collab.
It's not like a.
I don't know if is Stefon Diggs an Asics athlete.
No,
I don't think he is. So that's what makes this interesting and new in that sense. You've seen sneakers for football players when they're like that brand's athlete, but this is literally just a collab between someone who's stylish, who happens to be an athlete, and a sneaker brand. And I think that that's very cool and unique in that sense.
It's very on brand for, like, first of all, Asics has been having a phenomenal year. Like, they've been having a phenomenal year with collabs. Like, the gel Nimbus, it will probably be like one of the top sneakers at the end of the year. I promise you. Like, the gel Nimbus or the gel Keanu 14s, like, are some of their best sneakers, I would say. And like, I rock with these. This is right in line with what I like. I like this. It's different.
Would you be saying this about Asics if there was never Kiko Asics?
Oh yeah,
you would still be saying this.
Yeah,
okay.
Because
that's valid. That's valid because you like Saucony. I don't know nobody. That's valid. No, that's valid. To be honest, this article surprised me. I thought you were gonna throw the J Tips up there, bro.
Oh, brother. Look, I got somebody working on that.
Oh, you got somebody working on it. Because your bag, bro.
Just like when you sent me that, somebody else sent me and said, "Hey, if you want these, I can see if I can enter something for you." I was like,
"Oh yeah, the creative cloth bag is paid off." Jump in.
The funny thing, it's funny because you bring up Kiko, because I think he has probably the longest and the greatest collection of Asics. But the reason that I know about Asics and I started diving into Asics shoes is because I used to work at a store that sold Asics, and like I have one of my gym shoes is a pair of Asics, and I'm like, these are comfortable, like point blank period, these are comfortable shoes. So that was prior to me even getting the Kikos, but getting a pair of Kikos and seeing his other collabs definitely kept me around with the Asics journey. But these tough though. They simple, they clean, they get the job done. Like, you can really wear this with just about anything. The pink subtle hits ain't too crazy. So like, it's not like you got a matchy with it. Like, and most of the people that's gonna be rocking these got baggy pants and they go cover up the shoe anyways. So the
running Asics, it's hard for me to get into. I like them. I like visually. I look at them. I'm like, damn, that's a well designed sneaker. I don't wear them. I would like to. I bought those New Balances that the New Balances that like were scabbed off that everyone wanted when there was like a gray pair and it looked like it was like,
oh, you got the protection pack.
Yes, the protection pack. I got the first protection pack when it first dropped in gray. I wore them on vacation to Hawaii and then never wore them again. And was like, that level of sneaker just doesn't align with me. That style of sneaker. And it's crazy that you said Asics. I wore Asics as a kid. I wore Onitsuka Tigers. I didn't wear like the more like running style Asics, because when I was in high school and middle school, you would have got eaten alive for wearing those. You would have got roasted till the sun came up for wearing those things. And maybe that's why I only wear, because you would get clowned for wearing non-Nike, non-Jordan in my environment when I grew up. So maybe that has the trauma has informed me to just stay away. Mm-hmm. But it's funny. I didn't get clowned so much for these, but I had it. Can I share my screen?
I don't think so.
Oh no? All right.
What shoes was it?
It's the Onitsuka Tiger 60th anniversary Faber Rabbit. Fabre Rabbit. That was one of the first and most significant pair of Asics that I can remember that I wore those a lot. And then I stopped wearing them. And then after that, I didn't wear Asics anymore. I in high school, I got big into Vans. but I'm from. Yes, those I had. Bro, yes, I had those. I was like, yeah, these are. I thought I was tough with them joints.
Dude, what's that book about the rabbits that kill each other, bro? That's what this shoe looks like. Hold on, bro.
This joint is crazy looking at it now and knowing that I wore the
Watership down. Watership down. Oh my god, he had the Watership down collab sneakers.
Nah, those were, to be honest, that was the last time I wore Asics. Cool.
I'm dead.
Yeah, bro. I've had because like I said, my dad's a fashion designer, and he, like, growing up, he dressed me, he made me shit. Like, I would wear some pretty goofy things. Not goofy, just like, I guess, fashion forward for the time. But like, it would be strange to see a little kid wearing it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would get teased for some of the shit my dad would put me in, like, in elementary school and grade school and shit. And like,
like, growing up in the Bay Area or just California in general, like, you definitely got roasted for wearing things other than Nike. But I feel like the only shoe that people got away with was Vans.
Vans and Chucks.
You could always keep a pair of Vans on. You be like, okay, he cool.
Valid. It's valid.
Yeah.
I remember when I was in high school. Do you remember the hundreds?
Oh yeah.
When I was in high school, the hundreds had just dropped shoes, and the hundreds at this time was huge. Like, it was the biggest, like, streetwear brand. Like, it was the hundreds, Diamond Supply, Crooks and Castles.
Crooks and Castles. Damn, you just took.
Bro, I'm old. I wore Crooks and Castles.
Rocksmith. Do you remember Rocksmith?
I had Rocksmith. Had hella Rocksmith.
Bro, if you had Rocksmith, you was really doing it. Like,
bro, I was on Karmaloop all the time.
Oh, yeah,
I lived on Karmaloop,
bro. Karmaloop. That's why I got all my. I used to rock a lot of black scale.
Fresh Jive. I used to wear a lot of Fresh Jive. I remember the black. Like, for me, black scale was ASAP Rocky. And
yeah.
It's at that time. Me and ASAP Rocky aren't that far away in age. So I was just like, I was a little bit proud. I was like, I don't know, like, what am I wearing? What ASAP Rocky wears?
And I don't know if I'm this. I don't know if I'm correct here, but I remember Karmaloop was selling the Supreme Nike foam posit collab, like the red and the black joints, like the crazy ones. I think they sold those on that website too. Like, that website had everything. Like, it was.
Bro, I wouldn't put it past it. That, like, there were, like, so many brands. Like, for me, that Karmaloop is like the essence of streetwear, of, like, original, like, hype.
Oh yeah.
And also, it was big. Remember that brand that was like sneaker? It was like a sneakerhead brand. All, like, it was just scripts on the shirt talking about Jordans or something fresh or something, like. And they sold so many T-shirts, like, and it was literally just slang and sayings about, like, wearing sneakers or Jordans or Nikes. I don't know why the name of that brand is escaping me, but, like, they were huge on Karmaloop, sold everywhere. Or there was another brand on Karmaloop, 2 in the shirt, and it was just all they had on their shirts were just pictures of girls, and 2 in the shirt, the acronym is tits. And I'm like, yo.
I remember buying the socks that had, like, the Cupoline on there, or the 40s, or the Hennessy bottles, like, just ignorant shit. Like,
bro. That was an era for sure.
Damn, Karmaloop. Yeah, that's fire. I appreciate you brought that up. That's crazy.
That's where I grew up in streetwear. Era is my child. That's, like, what I remember from streetwear and learning about streetwear, learning how to dress, wanting to dress better. I remember because I went to a private high school my freshman year, and my parents were like, oh, you got to go to the public high school, PHS. And that's when I first learned about, like, Supreme, first learned about the hundreds, first learned about, like, Diamond Supply. Because before that, I was wearing uniforms in middle school and elementary school. And the only thing outside of the uniform was your shoes. So, like, I wore Nikes. I had those rabbit sneakers for a while. Like, and then got to public school and was like, oh, damn, I don't have to wear a uniform. Like, you can wear whatever you want here. Like, this is lit. And that's when I got into that bag.
Yeah, that's how my elementary school was. And then when I went to middle school, that's when it was like you could wear whatever. But we have now completed the articles, and I definitely want to get in. You, first of all, I didn't even know you were that old. Not saying that you old, but I didn't know I thought you was like 25 or something, bro. I don't know why. I thought you was younger than that. But I feel like you have a wealth of knowledge though. Like, we're talking about your dad and all that. So like the first question I want to pose to you is like, how did you get into fashion? And then now that I know you talked a little bit about your dad, like how big of an influence he was into you getting into fashion.
Oh, super, super, super big. But growing up as a kid, not at all. Like I would see my dad and be like, you dress funny. Like, cause he was an adult male buying and wearing whatever he wanted. Like there was this store in the Beverly Center called Politics, and they sold like, I didn't know that that's what they were selling, but they sold like old Margiela, like back in this is the early 2000s. So like my dad is dressing himself like a fashionable person in the early 2000s, wearing RAF, wearing Margiela, because my dad was also really, really skinny up until maybe sixth grade. And then all of a sudden he was like, oh, I wanted to start bodybuilding. And then my dad got really fucking buff. Really buff. Like he participated, I think, in an amateur bodybuilding competition when I was in middle school. But as a kid growing up, I was just like, oh, you dress funny. This is like, these things are strange. And then I got into middle school, and I think I got my first cell phone, and I ran up the texts hella on the cell phone or whatever. And he was like, you got to pay for this. And I was like, what? He was like, yeah, you got to figure out how to pay for this. I'm not paying for it. And he took me to go get some t-shirts. I got paint, and I painted on t-shirts, and like took one of his racks. Cause like we lived in the arts district. Other artists lived by us, and really no one else, and like just warehouses and factories. I took my little rack in front of the building and sold all the shirts in one day. I think I made like $500. Obviously, people were supporting me because they knew who my dad was, and they're like, oh yeah, I'll buy the t-shirt. Like, but that was like my first like, oh fuck, I like this. This is hard. This is super hard. Like, people like what I make. And then I was like, I want to make stuff for me that's different than what other kids wear. And I made myself a jacket, and this was like in middle school. I got a suit jacket from like a thrift store, and I stitched a hood and sweater cuffs on it. And then literally right after that, like maybe a year or so, my mom was like, look. And then we were watching TV or something, and like people were wearing that. People were wearing suits with the hood stitched on it, suit jacket on it, and like hoodie cuffs and shit. And I was like, whoa, that's fucking cool. And so since then, like me wanting to make stuff for myself, I kind of like resisted it, or thought fashion was like as a kid, I'm into video games and sports. Fashion is not like, and my dad's a fashion designer, and he's taking me to these places on the weekend where I have to sit and like I'm bored. He's doing fittings, or he's going to like showrooms, or he's going to manufacturers for managing his own production and shit. And I'm just bored. I'm like, I don't like this. And then it got to a point, like I think middle school, I did the t-shirts. And then afterwards I was like, oh no, I really like this. But at the same time, my mom was like, oh no, you're going to college. Like, you're going to like be like, you're going to have a job. Like those things were like, this idea of like creativity and stability were always at odds in growing up. And so I chose to like go like the traditional route. I went to Howard, majored in political science. I have a master's degree in public administration. I want to get my PhD in a couple years, but that's on a different subject. That's a different part of me. So super influential, but it is like a trickle down effect. And also my dad's very much so like sink or swim. He'll throw you in the water and it's like paddle, like swim, like he'll be out there standing like do it, like do this, but it's just, and you're like, what? So it's very much so sink or swim with him. He won't let me drown, but he's like, you got to figure it out, take the bruises, take the hits on the head. And like, and it's interesting because his mother, my grandmother, was a seamstress. Her only job. My dad's been making clothes since he was 10 years old. My dad's 63. So he's had that motivator and that person to like guide him. And then it got to the point where my dad was making pretty good money with his brand, and she was like, and so my grandmother has worked for my dad for as long as I can remember until she stopped. And then it was like when I got old enough to like want to be interested in it, I was still committed to going the traditional education route. And it was just like half foot in, half foot out, asking him to help me with stuff, me not really following through, me dropping the ball on shit, me having him spend money to help me develop stuff, and me not really being focused or serious about it. So he kind of pulled back and hasn't really been a super integral part of me redeveloping my style or redeveloping or creating my own brand. He, like I said, he helps me in a way, but also he's very busy. Like he does fucking custom for Drake, Chris Brown, fucking Megan Thee Stallion. Like he works all the time, does shit all the time. And so he doesn't necessarily have all the time to like assist me, but I learned so much from just watching him, being around him, being in the rooms that he's been in. I know how to manage production literally just from like, eventually I would get out of the car as a kid and go watch what he was doing, watch him pull seams, watch him stand over seamstress. So it's like, oh no, like little things like that. And so knowing how to run a brand, knowing how to manage production, I learned from him. And that's just from not him telling me things to do, just from watching him. And teaching me by example has been so important and integral to my growth and success as a brand owner and a designer. But like he has technical knowledge. He's a pattern maker by trade. He went to trade school to make clothing patterns. He's worked in New York, Japan, China. He was the lead outerwear designer for freaking, what was that brand called? Ed Hardy, when Ed Hardy was really big. Yeah, I remember him taking me on like that. Like one time he got the company card and was like, "You want to go shopping?" And like he was buying clothes for references, but a lot of those references I got to keep. So just like shit like that. Growing up with my dad has always been the most amazing experience. I wouldn't trade it for the world. The reason I am the person that I am is because so much of it is because of him. And yeah, like super honored, like super happy to be where I'm at, knowing where I came from.
No, that's lit, bro. That's crazy. Like you just bringing up how much knowledge you're able just to get just being there. Not even him teaching you, just being there, seeing them do it. And like you don't, even as a kid, you're just still retaining that information. Like, oh, like certain habits that you have that you may not even attribute to him. It's just like, it's because he was there. Like, that's dope, bro.
Yeah. And so, yeah, nah, definitely. Thank you. Thank you.
So then that goes into like, where did Pretty Ugly Shop come from? Like, how did you land on that name? When did you like really start it? And like, what's the direction you're going?
Pretty Ugly started probably as an idea in 2016. I was in college. I managed rappers. I was like wanted to be like in like fashion and music, and it was like these. I was seeing rappers starting to dress better during that time. Like rappers starting to align themselves with fashion, being featured in like being at the front rows of fashion shows, being featured in campaigns, aligning themselves with brand partnerships. And I was like, this is going to happen in a major way. Like, and now rap is synonymous with high fashion. Like rappers only want to dress in drip. And like the idea that drip is even a slang and it's about that shit. It's about clothes and it comes from rap. Like I knew that those things were going to merge in a big way. And I was like, I want to be a part of that in some way. And so I managed the artist. It didn't necessarily work out, but like that was the beginning of me developing a brand. I came up with this slogan because it's always been like, I've never been like a popular kid. I got teased a lot. I was always an other kid. So one of the big slogans for Pretty Ugly, the first like slogan idea that I came up with is not popular. And I dropped a t-shirt that said not popular on the front in a font very similar to the Sneeze magazine font. You know that magazine?
No, but I'm not the look it up. Magazine. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yeah, I've seen that before. Definitely
So
seen
very
that.
similar to that font. And the artist that I managed was going by Coach Not Popular. And so like that was like the first kind of like blend of that. I kind of grew that, and like I came up with the name Pretty Ugly probably in like 2017. I wanted to do prettyugly.com. that cost like $40,000 to buy still. Yeah, it's up for auction. You know, like, and this is genius. Like when the internet was invented, people just started buying websites.
No,
Someone bought .com before AT&T did.
In college, this professor I knew, really wealthy dude, he told me that. Like, so when the movie Wakanda came out, he bought a bunch of domains with just Wakanda in it. I was like, you are crazy. Like, it didn't even make sense. But when you just said that, it reminded me, like, yeah, people do that. Literally.
People do that strategically.
Yeah.
No one's going to come knocking. Like the person who bought DallasCowboys.com before the Dallas Cowboys realized the internet was going to be a tool for them, made a bag. Made a dummy bag. So I think about that, like at my age, like and how I grew up, I was like, dang, I'm too young to be on to have benefited from like taking advantage of the internet in a real way. And like too old, I feel like, to have been able to take advantage of social media in a real way. I'm just really catching on to what social media does and can do and shit. And so I feel like that's a unique like perspective that I have as a 30-year-old. But like I'm in it. Sometimes I feel old and weird posting stuff on Instagram, like, oh, fit pic, like fit video. It's like, man, what is my 30-year-old ass doing? Why am I doing this? But it's like at the same time, I'm not too prideful to go after what I want.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to be successful in this area. And so I'm going to do the things that hopefully will allow me to be successful. So even if it may look corny or whatever to some people, even if in my mind I think it's corny, like sometimes you got to do the corny thing to get on, and not necessarily sell yourself out, but sometimes you got to do the things that maybe make you uncomfortable. Maybe you've looked at those things as like, that's weird, or everything can be used as a tool if you have the right perspective. So
I want to get your perspective on this, because I thought when I got hit to, you know, just us interacting, me following you, and I saw this on your website, I was like, how did you land on this? This
was the age when I was on computers.
Okay.
First got on computers. Windows XP, Windows 98. My dad ran a business in the early 2000s. My dad had hella computers. So I was on computers. I was like, and so I'm very much so nostalgic. Nostalgia is super important to me. Like, and I think people underestimate nostalgia. Nostalgia makes everyone feel good.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you see something that you remember from your childhood, you can't help but smile. Like it just makes people feel something. And so I wanted my brand to have nostalgia built into the ethos. And so that's where this comes from.
Okay. I was like, 'cause I always admire when people just like, that's different. You don't see that often. You don't see people just going to the lengths to even do that. It's usually just like you click on the website, it goes straight to whatever you're trying to do. But like that little piece, now I'll remember that loading screen forever. Like when I saw that, I was like, dang.
That's what I wanted to tap into, like that nostalgia piece, like the things that you remember forever. Like my dad who's 60 and has nostalgia moments, and I look at him, I'm like, wow, that's lit. That's something as humans that we all share a connection to. And definitely. So that was why that was important to have in the brand.
So you said where the name came from. You said how I got started. So what's like the direction? Because I see people wearing it. Like the belt.
Starting to see people wear it too.
Yeah,
and
like
it feels so fucking good.
Like big names are wearing that. And like, what was it like during Fashion Week? Was somebody like
CJ1K wore it?
Yeah. So people are starting to wear it. Like, so where do you see it now? Like, it's picking up steam. It's obviously not like the thing that's supplying you with your, you know,
income. No.
Yeah.
For me, like, you gotta like, I used to shy away from this, but like your dreams should scare you. When you say the dream, it should be like, what? when other people hear it, they got to be like, you're crazy. That's not possible. I feel like that's how you should dream. That's the only way you should dream. And so Pretty Ugly is going to be the Black Supreme. Pretty Ugly is going to be the Black Palace. Pretty Ugly is going to be Fucked. I don't know if you're familiar with Fucked, FUC. Yeah. But that longevity, the punch, the not being willing, not shying away from controversy or like satire or like kind of like outrage marketing. Like, that's what I want to lean into. That's what I want to be. But at the same time, I don't want to be confounded by or bound by just traditional streetwear tropes, traditional streetwear like ethos. Like, I definitely want to have a streetwear component of the brand where you're going to get graphic tees and shit like that. But I also want to like do like the Nicholas Daley kind of shit. I want to do JUNYA WATANABE kind of shit, undercover kind of shit, you know? So I want to be able to design in a way that's not limiting to me at all, because I've noticed as I've been designing streetwear stuff, I'll sketch some shit and it's very similar to like higher capacity design work. I don't know if that makes sense. Like I think of my dad. Like, my dad is a women's wear designer. My dad sketches women's wear silhouettes, crimpy, like different like body proportions and like the way he does shit. I'm just always in awe of that. And like, I want to be able to make, because menswear silhouettes are really plain for the most part. They're very plain. And so how can I like make something special or unique or still like, and there's like that 3% rule that Virgil uses. Like, I want it to be recognizable, but if I can change 3 or 4 or 5% of it to be unique to me, then I feel like I've got a product that it'll resonate with them because they've seen something, the essence of it they've seen before and they know it. But what's visually in front of them, the details, the actual piece itself is different than from something that they've interacted with. So that's what I want to the brand to be moving forward. I like the belt space. I've got like 8 more belts that I have samples and designs for that I think are really cool, really striking. But I don't want to be the belt brand. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't want to be the belt brand. So I think that accessories are important. I want to do a wallet, to be honest, and offer like how Supreme definitely gets real wild and avant-garde with their accessories. I want to get to that point too. So yeah, I want the $40 billion valuation.
Okay,
20 billion. I want that.
Nah, that's, hey, ain't nothing really. And I feel like a lot of people, especially even I experience it, I just need to get out of my head. I get in my head so much and it stops me from doing anything. So not only am I not putting anything out, it's like I'm not even, damn, where was I even trying to go with that? But like,
from that creative mindset.
Yeah.
You're nitpicking at shit that don't, like, just create it and see, and then nitpick. But don't like, there's like choice paralysis because you have so many options for where you want to go with your creativity. Just let it flow and see what comes.
Exactly. And the last question that I have for you is just like, I think I know where you're about to go with this, but like, where do you get your main inspiration from? Like, how do you get in your creative bag?
That's an interesting question because right now I've been in a space where I felt like inhibited creatively because of my job. But that's going to change soon. And I think being in a space where you have like freedom and peace of mind, like inspiration can come from just whatever you're looking at, wherever you are, the music that you're listening to, the friends that you're interacting with, the environment that you're in. But being able to have like peace of mind, not having like stress or anxiety, be what like the main emotion in your space. is really, really valuable for me. And I feel like when I'm in those spaces, I'm the most creative. I can look at anything and be like, oh, that curve on that tree is hard. Like, let me think about how I can implement that kind of silhouette on a pair of shorts or a shirt or a jacket or whatever. And then also when I feel, when I look at my closet and I see a lot of shit that I don't like or don't wear anymore, I'm inspired to like repurpose it and see how that can become a final product or final design that I can then manufacture. And I go to a lot of flea markets. So like being in those spaces and seeing people who are very comfortable with their personal style, who maybe have been wearing it for a couple decades now and shit. Like I find so much value in elders, watching elders, learning from elders, speaking to them, interacting with them. That's a very inspirational space for me too.
I be forgetting sometimes, like I'm the person that like runs this thing, but like I be so in, like I'm listening and I be like, damn, I gotta respond now. Like I'm like taking in what you say, and I'm like, that sounds tough. But I'm like, oh yeah, I have to also orchestrate what's going on. But like I definitely agree, because like I agree with what you said about the headspace. Like whenever I'm in a state of peace and I could just like, I'm not worried about a bill. I'm not worried about, you know, some family stuff. I'm not worried about like some personal stuff. And I'm just like my headspace is clear. That's when like ideas are just like, they're everywhere. They're everywhere. So I definitely agree with you on that. And I think for a lot of people who don't have the freedom to, whether it be content creation or like a personal brand that's supplying their main income, we always run into that point where it's like, I don't feel inspired because like I gotta do something for work. Or it's like, you know, this isn't paying me just yet, and I gotta do something to pay me so I could just, you know,
I can get back to that thing that I love.
Yeah. So like, I definitely feel you on that. Like, it's a weird, not a weird, but it's a balance. Yeah,
you need money to live. You need money to live.
Facts.
You also need money because creativity can become like when you're executing creativity, that's when it gets expensive. Ideas are cheap. Execution is expensive. So when you get to the point where you're executing creativity, you also need money for that. So you're as a creative who's like not paid creatively, you're kind of at odds with your time.
Very much so.
And that can move you out of that headspace of like peace and serenity that kind of you need to be to have your creative antennas up.
Facts. That completely agree. Like absolutely agree. That's crazy, bro. I feel like just interacting with you through messages, I did not even get half of what, like,
I keep a lot of myself to myself because like I don't know. Fuck it. There's no such thing as toxic masculine. There's no such thing as like immasculate or whatever. Masculinity is whatever you define it to be. I got teased a lot as a kid, so I kind of contract into myself when I'm around people I don't know, or when I'm in spaces that feel uncomfortable or unfamiliar to me. So I keep most of me hidden from the internet. I want to share it because I feel like there's value in presenting it and maybe possibly inspiring another fellow Black creative. Like I live the FUBU lifestyle. I'm for us by us. That's my biggest thing. And I also think about that for my brand because I'm like, dang, my brand is real Black. Supreme, Palace, but like those brands, they tiptoe around that. Mm-hmm. They use us to sell shit, but they don't sell us. They don't sell this. They don't sell these images. They put us in their images to sell. And so I kind of think about that. I'm like, is it too Black? Like, is it too like, you know, like, but that's maybe me trying to limit myself in the same way that I limit how much I share of myself due to like past whatever traumas or ideas or thoughts or experiences. And so I'm trying to get out of that. I'm gonna be unapologetically Black in my brand, and I should be unapologetically myself when I present content. If I want to be the content creator that I say I want to be, to help promote and build and sell my brand, then I got to be unapologetically myself as well. So I'm working on that.
Yeah, you'll be surprised at how many people will gravitate to you just because like your perspective, your outlook, and like just who you are is different from what a lot of people are just carbon copies of like somebody else they see online. But when people start getting like personable, it's like it's like we said earlier, it's not even like I like your content now. It's just like I rock with this dude as a person. Like I'm gonna support him just because of who he is. Or
yeah. And I appreciate this because it's shown me just this interaction. It's like, nah, I have something to offer that people probably maybe want to interact with, or like, and I shouldn't limit myself by being afraid to share those things due to the response that I may or may not get.
Definitely. I mean, because like no matter what you do, they gonna talk about you. No matter what it is, you could not post, they gonna talk about you. You can't post, they gonna talk about you. It's like you can't win for lose, so you might as well just do it.
Might as well just do it, bro.
But yeah, man, I appreciate you coming on here. I'm glad that we actually got to talk because like it's so crazy. Like we've interacted through DMs, but it's like meeting somebody and being able to talk. It's like I have so much more a wealth of knowledge about who you are. Like you went to college, got your master's. I'm like, what the? I would have not gotten that from your social media. And there's just like the info that you have, being around your dad and all that. I think that's just like super dope information. And I hope that people that follow you who haven't gotten inside, they go DM me and be like, bro, what the fuck? Like, we didn't know this about you either. Like, we need this. Like, but without further ado, like I always do, I'll catch y'all on the next one.
Peace.
But I love the way you work it. Hey, I love the way you work it.